start recording. And then, so for the review, I'm just going to go in and take an exam here with you. You have 1 hour. It's 50 questions. It's 40 questions. This is 40 questions. And it's going to cover chapters 13, 14, 15. All right. I'm in preview mode, so Proctorio is not going to be monitoring it. But all right. So question 1. All right. What type of storage drive contains spinning platters? The magnetic hard disk, right? All right. Technician requires a file system on an internal 1.5 terabyte Windows 10 boot drive and supports file encryption, disk quotas, and security features such as file and folder permissions. Which of the following will support these requirements? D. Yep. NTFS. Yes. What command should you use to rearrange parts of files on the drive so they are contiguous? See, that'll fix disk errors. That's defrag. Yep, defrag B. What command can be used to totally wipe a hard drive clean, including the partition system? C. Yes. All right. Which of the following Windows commands will delete the files and directories at the destination location that no longer exist at the source location? C. Yeah, no, it's C. Robocopy / purge, right? So yeah, the X copies and copy mode format that'll just destroy everything. What is responsible for getting a system up and going and finding an OS to load? D, right, the startup BIOS UEFI. All right, a technician is troubleshooting Windows blue screen of death error. The technician wants to check the memory installed in the system. Which of the following tools is used to launch the Windows Memory Diagnostic Tool? No, it's actually A, right? So it's Memory Diagnostic Scheduling Tool is what I think is what it stands for, but it's A. What command can be issued with Windows RE to enable networking? No, that's a good guess though, but it's actually A. So actually A will enable networking. But I can see why you would think ipconfig would do that. It really should, but it doesn't. What types of physical drives does Windows disable defragmenting? All right, let me see. What types of physical drive does Windows disable defragmenting, but provides another method of optimization? So Windows doesn't allow defragmenting on it, right? Well, virtual, that's a good, right? It's solid state, right? Because you don't defragment a solid state drive, you trim it, right? It's a different tool because it doesn't have the spinning drives. Defragmenting doesn't help. A technician is troubleshooting a Windows computer experiencing slow startup. Which of the following steps should the technician take first to determine whether startup processes are responsible for the slow startup? B. All right. Technician measure the time it takes to start the system using normal boot. Compare the time against the time it takes for the system to perform a clean boot. I like that answer. I haven't even read the others, but I do like that. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah. What command creates a subdirectory under a directory? Yep, C. Yeah, make directory. Technician removes several instances of malware from a customer's Windows PC. Now, when the user double clicks .doc files, an error message appears asking what program to use to open the files. Which of the following is most likely the cause for this error? Change the file association type. That's correct. Yeah. What Windows utility can be used to find out what processes are launched at startup? This one is it's a trick question. I believe this exam wants A, but it's been moved to B. I really should remove that question. I do believe they want A here, but I want to say that they moved it. We'll look at it. I think they want system configuration, but if we go to system configuration, we go to startup, it says open task manager, but the book hasn't been updated to reflect that they moved it to task manager. So we'll check that when we submit it. Yeah, remember from Tuesday. Yeah, it's a bad question. Zach wants to install Windows 10 over his existing copy of Windows 10. He wants to keep his personal files, apps, and Windows settings. He currently has a USB drive with a Windows 10 ISO. What type of installation would you recommend, Zach? So he wants to install over his existing copy and keep his personal. So we've got D and B. Repair, upgrade. Right. So you can definitely do a repair upgrade. I like that answer. Right. You definitely don't want to do D, right? Because a custom install wipes all the files and apps, right? So we want to do an upgrade, and then install Windows 10 over his existing copy of 10, right? So he wants to keep the same version, right? He's just doing a repair upgrade. An in-place upgrade would I think when you're switching versions, you know. A technician is attempting to use System Restore to restore a Windows 10 system to a point in the recent past. However, the option to choose a restore point is not available. So the following is most likely the reason for this issue. Yeah, right. If System Restore is off, you won't have any restore points, right? Right, and System Restore exists. File history isn't going to help, right? So yeah. Eric is working on a computer that has a device driver error. Eric can find the name of the device driver. However, the actual device is not available. Unfortunately, Eric does not have access to the internet. Where can Eric go to look up the device driver's file name to determine what device uses the device driver? C. Yep, C, right. We had that one on Tuesday too, right? Windows System 32 drivers folder. A Windows user contacted the help desk with a problem that requires the technician to connect to the remote computer using remote assistance to view a very detailed and cryptic error message on the user's desktop. Each attempt that a technician makes to connect to the remote computer results in a message stating the connection was refused. Which of the following protocol and port number combination should be open on the remote computer's firewall to allow this connection? D, yes, RDP, right? Remote desktop protocol 3389. Yep, that's what we need. So, excuse me. You have received an escalated trouble ticket for a Windows workstation that displays an error message each time the user signs into Windows. The previous technician logged the error in the ticketing system and made a note that she was not familiar with the error message the system was displaying. What is the first step you should take in resolving this issue? Right. B, research the error message. Right. See what it's telling you. Sarah installed Windows 10 for the first time on her computer. During the installation process, she noticed that the new system partition called ESP partition was created. Sarah cannot access this new partition to see what it contains. What can you tell Sarah about the ESP partition? A, right. It's created by GPT to store Windows boot and startup files. All right. What Windows process is responsible for authenticating users? Yes, LSASS is responsible for authenticating users. So C is correct. All right. A user is attempting to format a 4 terabyte hard drive using NTFS, but only has the option to format the disk with the size of approximately 2 terabytes. What is the most likely reason the user is unable to format the disk to its full capacity? No, GUID allows for the larger. NTFS allows for more than 4 terabytes. FAT32 would be the opposite, but it's D, right? The disk is using the MBR, which is the older format partitioning scheme, where the GUID is the new, right? So MBR only allowed up to 2.2 terabytes, I think. Whereas GUID, I don't even know where the limit is. It's like 128 terabytes or something like that. It's pretty huge. All right, but it was D. A user is following the instructions of a help desk technician and is attempting to launch system file checker from the command line interface. Each time the user types SFC /scan now and presses enter, the utility fails to run and an error appears stating the command must be run using an elevated command prompt. Which of the following best describes the reason for this issue? No, it's definitely not. It's not C. So they're running the command prompt, right? It is A, right? Because remember when we do the command prompt, you have two choices, right? So do CMD, right? You can click on it and run it as a user, or right-click on it and run as administrator. And since you're running an administrator command, you need to run it as administrator. So yeah, so A is our correct answer. Windows 10 user wants to display all the files in all the subdirectories on the E drive with the file extension of doc. What command would perform this function? All right. Directory $$doc/s. Yes. A would display all the documents on the E drive with the file extension of doc. Yep. All right. If a storage pool is configured as if it has more virtual storage than the physical drive actually offers, what feature is being used? A, right, thin provisioning, right? We actually allocate more disk drive space than we actually have because then we eventually hope to add it to it, but when we provision it, we over allocate it or say there's more than there is. That's called thin provisioning. Yeah. A Windows computer is experiencing a problem accessing the internet. The network patch cable and network interface card have been tested and verified to be working properly. What steps should be considered next to resolve this problem? B, right. Yep, the card and the interface, the cable seem to be good. So it's the settings that are potentially the issue. So we'll have to check those out. Which of the following Windows tools is used to measure how well software and hardware are performing by displaying statistics in real time? D, right. Performance Monitor allows us to monitor software and hardware in real time. Yeah. All right. What option, when passed to the shutdown command, will restart the local computer? C, right. The /R for restart. Okay. A technician is troubleshooting a Windows system in which an application works properly when the computer is booted in safe mode but does not function when Windows is loaded normally. Which of the following is the most likely reason for this issue? No, because it works in safe mode, so it's not the file association. Right. All right. So what happens in safe mode versus normal mode, right? Not all the drivers are loaded, right? So a driver is most likely causing an issue because in safe mode we just load just everything we just need, whereas in normal mode everything gets loaded. So there's likely a driver that's causing an issue. All right, you can use what utility to convert two or more basic disks to dynamic disks? Yeah, right. D, right. We have disk management to manage our disks. Yeah. As Windows 10 is loading, assuming it's enabled, what will happen when F8 is pressed? A, yep. Advanced boot option screen appears when you hit F8 while it's loading. All right. A technician would like to have the ability to add physical hard drives to a storage space storage pool at future times on an as-need basis. Which of the following storage space features describes this functionality without the need to also reconfigure the available space to users? E, right, our thin provisioning again. Exactly. All right. Restore points are created at regular intervals and just before you install software or hardware by what utility? I'm not sure what they call it, to be honest. So yeah, we'll go with that and we'll figure it out. That one's a new term for me. Under the advanced options screen, what startup option should be enabled in order to view what did and did not load during the boot up? A, right, boot logging, right? A Windows computer stopped printing to a directly connected printer, and the technician suspects a service may be at fault. Which of the following steps can the technician take to verify her suspicions? Right, D, right, stop and start the spooler service, right? A is close, right, but you don't want to disable it. You want to make sure it's running, right? So stop and start, sometimes the spooler, it'll hang. And so stopping and starting it will kickstart it and it'll start printing again. That has happened a lot. Especially on a server with hundreds of printers attached to it, it can happen. A technician is troubleshooting a Windows computer and needs to stop the Explorer exe process. Multiple attempts to open the task manager have failed. The technician can successfully open a command prompt. Which of the following steps should the technician take next? C, task list to locate the PID. Right. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta get the PID before you can kill it, right? So yeah, task list. I would go with that because yeah, you can't kill it until you have the PID, right? All right. Registry files, if deleted, can be restored from those saved in what folder? Yep. C, right. Windows System 32 config. That's where the registry lives, and then the backup for the registry lives in the regback folder. All right, if you suspect corrupt system files are causing issues, what command can be run to verify and restore the corrupt files? A, no. Right, so it's D, right? So system files, right? System file checker, scan now, right? That's our tool to fix and restore corrupt files. Okay, and then what command can be used to check for file system errors? B. Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, I don't like this one because it's got this here, but I'm gonna go with B too. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't like the fact that it has A and B because technically both are correct. um, well, I guess the file system would be to check disk, but it's just worded poorly. All right, so we'll go with B. What Windows utility is particularly useful in identifying software and hardware bottlenecks and provides the ability to monitor in real time? Right. So yeah, monitor in real time is the performance monitor, right? All right, last one. James' computer is not booting properly. The computer begins to boot and then just stops and restarts. After the third restart, the computer attempts to repair the computer using startup repair. Startup repair does not seem to work. Instead, the computer asks you to choose an option from the startup settings screen. James has followed the troubleshooting screen to the startup settings screen and clicked restart. when setting in the startup settings screen, what settings in the startup settings screens will enable James to see which driver may be failing and causing his computer not to boot? A, enable safe mode with a command prompt, enable safe mode, enable debugging, enable boot logging. Yeah, so I would say B would be probably the preferred if you could go in, right? Because if you're suspecting a driver, it's going to be a lot easier in safe mode to troubleshoot that when you because then you can get to the device manager, things like that. You could look at. I would say B is a better choice. Not saying that you couldn't do things in A, but I'm going to say B is a better choice, if that makes sense. You have more options available to you in B versus well, with command prompt. Yeah, because B is the GUI, and yeah, A is command prompt only. We'll see what they say. Okay, we missed two. I'll copy these out and see, but I just want to see which one we missed. All right, so it's the system protection, not prevention. So system protection. Where do you send this after copying? I'll put it in the week 12 folder. It'll be a Word document, but yeah, I'll call it like review 2. I'll put it in a Word document. So then enable boot logging. Oh, okay. I can go with that. I mean, I still think safe mode's better, but sure. All right, so enable boot logging is what they want you to do, and then check the boot log for the failing driver. But yeah, that's definitely one way to do it. I can go with that. All right, so we did pretty good. I'm going to copy these. And then we'll put it in a Word file. Save as ITSC 1305 review. Oh, why is it not typing? ITSC 1305 exam 3 review 2. All right, so I've got that, and then so we'll go to lessons. Same question we did on the last class. No, these are different questions than we did on Tuesday. Yep. So we'll go to weeks 9 through 12, go to weeks 12. Right, so here's the first one, right? We did these, and then I'll add this one. Some are similar, yes, absolutely. But there's like 120 different questions. So there's still probably 40 questions we haven't touched. So you have to do the quizzes to see them. Desktop. ITSC. All right, so submit. So there they are. So I'll move them up. And then I'm going to stop the video here.